Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Agency Platform VIP bi-weekly webinar series. Apologize for the short delay in getting things started. I had issues with screen sharing. My name is Paul, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about lead generation for marketing agencies. Usually one of the hot topics people like to talk about because better lead generation strategies means more clients for you. So before I get started here, if you could give me a shout out in your questions box, or maybe it's a chat box somewhere in that go-to webinar interface, should let you send me a message. And if you can let me know if you can hear me okay and see my screen okay. Okay, not hearing from anyone yet. If you can hear me okay and see my screen okay, if you can find the chat box and give me a shout out. Okay, fantastic. So whenever it comes to online B2B lead generation, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. Oftentimes with marketing agencies, one of the main things I hear agencies talking about are advanced marketing tactics for lead generation. In other words, instead of just walking inside of someone's business or knocking down doors or beating the streets, as they call it, or cold calling, traditionally, marketers are more apt to set up a landing page, drive traffic to a landing page, maybe even getting into voice drops and robo dialing, buying email lists or getting an email list, figuring out a drip email marketing campaign, and trying to figure out a way to dial in an automated lead generation system. Oftentimes, this can take more time and expense and setup and maintenance than it's worth, and it can still be difficult to get leads that way. I've even talked to a lot of agencies that use physical mail. So you have a target market, buy some sort of amazing crawler that data mines the leads out of Google My Business, and you can custom tailor a physical mail campaign for XYZ marketing services. Good idea, inventive, difficult, and it's still hard to tweak. In my opinion, for B2B online lead generation, LinkedIn is one of the best ways to go because, well, without debate, it is the largest platform out there for B2B lead generation in a professional environment. Also, it is not spammed out. I have a LinkedIn my account myself. I have more connections. I have thousands of connections on LinkedIn, and I don't get spam. I don't get spam messages. I rarely get messages in LinkedIn, and I would assume that that would go for everyone else. Whereas with email, you get a lot of spam. You get overwhelmed with emails. Your business is all mixed in with emails. And then, of course, if you've got enough marketing clients, they also receive cold calls and a lot of calls from salespeople soliciting digital marketing services. Therefore, LinkedIn is one of the only fresh pools where you can directly connect with businesses. Not only can you directly connect with a business, but what's one of the best parts about LinkedIn? You can directly connect with a decision maker in a business. If you want to send an email to, let's say that you wanted to target dentists in a particular geographic area or city. So you buy a list of emails, or you mine a list of the dentists in that city, and you send them all emails. Well, one, good luck sending the email. Two, good luck getting that email delivered. Then good luck getting it not delivered to the spam box. And if it does get delivered to an inbox, good luck having that inbox be someone that is the decision maker. And then you got to get them to open it. Then you got to get them to read it. So email is a very difficult way for lead generation, especially if you're going after cold leads. Text messages are difficult. If any of you are into sending text messages, that's a much better way, but again, if you've ever studied text message marketing or maybe looked into some of the text message marketing platforms and you start looking into the laws, particularly in the UK, Canada, and the USA, I'm not too familiar with Australia, but sending text messages to a cold list, there's a lot of laws around that. And not that I'm would be so worried if I were you about getting in trouble for it, but again, there's laws around it, so technically it's not allowed. Neither is cold emailing for that matter. And then it comes to physical mail. Even if you send a physical mail piece to a whole group of dentists in a certain area, what are the chances that piece of physical mail is going to make it to a decision maker and they won't just throw it away? Therefore, we arrive to LinkedIn. One of the reasons why I'm bringing up LinkedIn is not because we're paid to, and it's not because we have any special interest in it. It's just some of the agencies that we have seen flourish the most, whether they are larger or startups. LinkedIn, they rely on heavily. And there's several different reasons for why. One that I had just mentioned, you can target business owners that do get the in-mail messages. Two, it is very affordable. The entire platform is B2B, but then there's also a way to do lead warming around it. Is anyone on the webinar right now currently utilize LinkedIn for lead generation strategies? Nobody so far. So if I typed in, let's see, LinkedIn optimized profile. So there's another reason why I like to talk about LinkedIn. If you've been on a previous webinar, I talked about branding and marketing for your agency. If you have a big marketing company or you've already put a lot of work into your brand and you've got all of that covered, then fantastic, great. But how many of you would consider yourself a startup marketing agency? And by startup, I mean you probably have less than 3 employees and you have less than 5 clients. Even if you've been around several years, I would still put you in a startup phase, unless that was your objective. Anyone willing to give a shout out if you're still in startup phase? Oftentimes, a good majority of the people that hop on our webinars, not that they're not good enough for veteran agencies, but are in the startup phase. And when you're in the startup phase, a lot of people think, I really need to work on my brand, on my marketing agency. I need a better website, and you do, or maybe you do. But and then you think, oh, I need to keep my blog up to date. I need to compete with my other competitors with a better website. I need to set up my different social media profiles because my website links to them. And I've got a Google Plus, and I've got a YouTube, and I've got a Facebook, and a Twitter, and Pinterest, and God knows what else. And then, of course, if you create those and you brand them, and then you have to keep them up to date. Now, all of a sudden, just to keep your marketing agency brand up to date takes quite a bit. And then you're trying to get testimonials and case studies and the whole 9 yards. You get what I'm saying? Particularly for the smaller agencies, LinkedIn is a huge opportunity because you can go after and close leads with no website. You heard it here, and I've seen it done many of times and done very well, and people easily scale their agency into 100,000 profit a year, which means they're doing about $250,000 a year in revenue, only off of LinkedIn, and that's really how they kick-started their company to get there. And I think it's a very good idea. Ask yourself this question and Google it if you'd like to. What is easier to brand, an individual or a company? Well, an individual is so much easier to brand than a company because we're all human, because we have human attachments that primarily exist human to human and not human to company, which is why branding a company is so difficult to do to establish a strong brand that people remember. However, you could have met someone yesterday and talked to them for 5 minutes in line at the grocery store, and you might not forget them for a year. So branding an individual is a lot easier. And also, one of the mistakes that smaller agencies make in particular is that when they do set up a company website and all their social media accounts and you go to close leads, you never branded yourself on your company site. Most agency websites I look at, you cannot find anything written about the owner of that agency, even when there's only one person in that entire agency and it's only one person. You, more often than not, you will not find their name on that website anywhere. You go to the About Us section, you won't find their name because they're scared to put their name and their person because they don't have 20 other employees and they're worried that they look small and they're inadequate or for whatever the reason is. Branding yourself is the best thing you can do. If you are going to be taking the primary sales calls, branding yourself is something you should do. So what you need to do first is understand that. And for me, I would lead in with leads with your LinkedIn profile more than your website. If you haven't built a brand in a company, then why try hard to if you don't need to? Maybe your differentiating factor between you and a larger marketing agency is that you're you. And maybe you take pride in giving your clients personal recognition and personal help. And that's what makes you stand out, which is pretty much you, the individual. Similarly, if I was going to hire an attorney and I found an attorney on LinkedIn or a lot of billboards just have somebody's name on it as an attorney, and I like that individual more than the idea of a law firm and a name behind a law firm. In fact, I might think of a well-branded law firm as something I may not be able to afford, whereas an individual I would, and if they have a likability factor, they've got me. So it's a big deal to brand yourself. And I see Catherine Maxwell on the line. Hi, Catherine. And this is also something that Catherine has done really well. And Andrew's got a comment I want to read before I dive into this. Andrew says, we turn our clients' LinkedIn profiles from a glorified resume into a direct response ad. Then we go into the LinkedIn database and find targets. We then simulate our client's LinkedIn profile to looking at the target's LinkedIn profile. People are naturally curious about who is looking at their profile. Many will resonate with them and they contact their client. I get what you're saying, Andrew. Let me know if you feel like talking and chatting about the rest of the group about this, and you could give some tips to the other marketing agencies on the line on how to best optimize their LinkedIn profile. It's good to have a LinkedIn profile and it's good to go after leads on LinkedIn, but you need to optimize your profile and you've got to be able to do it properly. So one of the main things that you want to be able to do, optimize your photo, your URL, your headline, and instead of just reading this whole article to you, I'll just send it to you. So LinkedIn, optimize it, profile tips. Okay, there we go. So this is a great article. I'll let you read through it. One of the things that what Andrew is saying is, tailor your LinkedIn profile to your connections. And you can scroll through here. So you can get endorsements. So who needs testimonials and case studies when you can get endorsements on LinkedIn, whether they're from your friends or whoever they're from? And I'm just going to let you read through the article instead of going through it. So you get a really good optimized LinkedIn profile and you brand yourself. That's my recommendation. And then my recommendation is to get to know well the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Listen, there's a lot of companies out there that offer LinkedIn marketing to help you get B2B leads. In fact, Andrew, it sounds like you're one of them. So no disrespect to any B2B lead generation company that runs through LinkedIn, but there's also some marketing coaches in the digital marketing hemisphere that specialize in getting B2B leads for marketing agencies. My recommendation to you is to stay away from those people because they charge a lot of money and it's not hard to do. And also, look, if you can't formulate your own strategy in LinkedIn to get your own leads, I wouldn't hire someone else to. And that's just my recommendation for any sort of lead generation. If you can't in-house to some degree figure out how to cold call and convert leads, I would never hire a call center to do it for you. Never expect them to dial it in for you. And the same goes for any other sort of lead generation. So I recommend that you would dive in and figure it out. Andrew, let me know if you're willing for me to unmute you if you want to talk about profile optimization. Okay, so what is LinkedIn Sales Navigator? LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a membership program that starts at, there's probably a link in here somewhere. Compare plans. Well, I'll give you the Sales Navigator pricing. So the Sales Navigator is pretty much whenever you pay someone else to do LinkedIn B2B lead generation for you, in short, what they're doing is they're using the Sales Navigator, and then they're doing a whole bunch of searching, copying, and pasting, and following up with people, pretty much. So here's a LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Okay, so it allows you to target, find the right people in the companies, and engage with them. What's the pricing? Well, it starts as low as $65 a month. So again, I don't think this is too much. And what do you get for $65 a month? So the initial reaction that I get whenever I tell agencies, hey, look, if you're struggling with lead generation, just do yourself a favor, go over here and check this out. And then they say, oh, hey, wait, Paul, $65 a month, and all I get is 20 in-mail messages per month. What does that mean? That means that you can directly message someone else in LinkedIn. But let me explain. It doesn't mean that you can only do 20 mail messages. So that's the huge misconception. And honestly, that's what makes most people bounce off of this page immediately, because they get here and they think, wow, I can only message 20 people a month, $65. I'm done. I'm gone. That's not the case. If you've ever been in LinkedIn and you go to message someone for any reason and it doesn't allow you to, you have to connect with them first. You have to know them. Those sorts of people you cannot message. Now, if you buy the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, then it allows you to send 20 messages to people that have in the settings set that they don't allow people to openly message them. Does that make sense? So you can message 20 people that only accept messages from people they're connected with. Let me know if there's any confusion there, because that's the most important part. Main point being, most people on LinkedIn do not have that setting set. Personally, myself, if you look me up and I've got thousands of connections, I don't even have that setting set. Yeah, you could find me and send me a message and it would not take up one of your 20 in-mail messages. And in my experience, most people do not have that setting set, which means how many people could you message as part of LinkedIn Sales Navigator? Well, unlimited, really. It's just 20 people, only 20 a month can you message that have it set that you shouldn't be able to message them otherwise. 1,500 saved leads. So you're able to go in and save leads, and it has a little mini CRM system in there. You see who's viewing your profile, which actually they don't let you see that to much of a large extent unless you're paying. Extended LinkedIn network, but most of it allows you to drill down to the person's salary range, the geographic area. You can figure out if they're a decision maker or not, and you can really drill down to figure out, is this someone that you want to be able to contact? So let's take a look at some of this stuff. Yeah, that's not what I wanted, sorry. Is anyone on the line right now currently run LinkedIn Sales Navigator? Andrew, I assume you are. So on lead recommendations, whenever you set in what your target audience is, it's also going to start recommending leads to you. And the idea is that you're going to have a message that you're going to send over to your potential leads to introduce yourself. The initial one is going to be a shorter message. Like, hi, how are you doing? I want to connect with you, or whatever. There's some strategy links that I'm going to give you that recommends what you write and what you do. In short, the name of the game is you're going to be able to directly communicate with a lot of these business owners, and you can hyper target them. And then it's a lot of copying and pasting. You figure out your initial message you want to send, you send it, you have a follow-up that you can send, and then if you can get in touch with them, you'd put them in your CRM, your sales pipeline. If you can get their email, you'll start putting them up on a drip email campaign. It's really that simple. It really is. I recommend anyone that's in the game of B2B lead generation, which I assume every single person on this webinar is, that you get in here and check this out, because there's no other platform in the world, unless you want to start talking about Alignable, which is a tiny mouse compared to how big LinkedIn is and how good this is. It also has CRM integration. So although LinkedIn Sales Navigator has a built-in CRM system and lead management system, if that perturbs you because it's not at the level of Salesforce or ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft, then okay, it will integrate with other CRM systems and you can use those instead. By the way, any shout outs on favorite CRM systems? While you're thinking about that, I'll continue on. Deals. So you can keep deals in the CRM, which I personally would not do because I have my own CRM, real-time sales updates, notes and tags, and who's viewing your profile. InMail messages you can get through. PowerPoint slides I wouldn't use, but you can also have a whole team in here. In other words, and cover the best ways to connect with prospects through your company's combined network. Why might you like to have a bit of a team? Well, first of all, and a lot of you are probably thinking, well, just understanding the basic construct of this just screams VA. You said copy and paste, I think VA. In other words, an outsourced employee from the Philippines or India or wherever that is affordable, and you would have them do this. Just trust me on this. Do it yourself until you get it to work. Trust me. Unless you've got a lot of money to blow, do it yourself until you get it to work. I can't stress that enough, and that goes for any sort of lead generation in your company. Unless you have partners in your company and you can segregate the tasks, and this equity partner is going to oversee sales and lead generation, fine, it's different. And then there's professional, team, and enterprise. I recommend professional. That's at $65 a month. And once you get into it, you can also sync LinkedIn for support. So beyond LinkedIn Sales Navigator, there are some tools that you could look up that would help you with LinkedIn lead generation. So I'm going to throw a link in the chat for LinkedIn other tools for lead gen. And I've got a couple in my pocket I want to throw out there. When was this posted? So I'm going to look at a couple of these and see if anyone has used these. Linked Omada is a fairly popular one. Lead Connect. Now, does anyone know who owns LinkedIn? I assume most of you do, but a bit of trivia. Does anyone know, without Googling it, it's not fair, does anyone know who owns LinkedIn? Andrew, of course you do. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. One of the reasons why LinkedIn is so hard to spam and why it's so clean is because Microsoft owns it. There's a lot of automation tools in the past that have been built to spam Google and Facebook and everything else underneath the moon, where there's a lot of marketing tools for it. However, most of the LinkedIn marketing automation tools that found some crevice or crack to sneak into LinkedIn in a way that they weren't happy about are no longer around, or they're not working anymore, because LinkedIn is very difficult to spam. With that being said, there are some services out there that do work still. So not that we're spammers or anything like that, but I want to open some of these. And Andrew, I'm curious, do you have any shout outs on additional LinkedIn tools outside of Sales Navigator? Fantastic. A LinkedIn tool that is not HTTPS. I'm going to take a risk for everybody. I'm getting malware, and I'm going to go here anyways. Okay, so linked Omada is one of the main ones that people talking about with helping you to reach targeted leads on LinkedIn. And I guess one of the main thing is that you can send a connection request to hundreds of connections with just a one button click. Again, oh, Andrew, duck soup. Yeah, I got to pull that one up. That one is probably one of the best. Now, curious, Andrew and anyone else, listen. Linked Omada says that you can send a connection request to hundreds of connections with just a one button click. That's the main thing that I would assume this does, and it will also overcome LinkedIn in-mail limitations, which means they either have some sort of a partnership with LinkedIn or they've cracked it. So LinkedIn Auto helps you overcome the in-mail limitation by allowing you to automate the LinkedIn process of sending a message along with a connection request. However, if you send a connection request, oftentimes you have to indicate whether or not you know them through work or a friend or whatnot. And if you get that denied enough, I'm pretty sure you can get your account locked up. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, this is just a beast. So in Quora, this is one of the main tools to be used. Let's take a look at the pricing on this real quick. Andrew's saying, yes, this is totally seen as spam, linked Omada. However, it might work really well. It's really cheap. So guys, do me a favor. Maybe if any of you are going to look into any of these tools between now and the next time we have a webinar, let me know next time around on the webinar whether or not you're able to look into this. Link Connect, automate LinkedIn invitations, automate follow-ups. So if someone responds to you in LinkedIn, you can automate a follow-up with this. That's nice. Again, Andrew, does DuckSoup do automated follow-ups? I'm wondering. One of the main things people are looking for in additional LinkedIn software is to automate a follow-up. I mean, I think you got to have pretty high volume effort here in LinkedIn to need an automated follow-up. And if I was targeting my lead specifically, I don't know if I'd want an automated follow-up. And I'm not putting these links in chat. Sorry about that. So other LinkedIn tools, links below. So Linked-O-Mata and worth a shout out. Connect.io. The main one I want to talk about though is one Andrew reminded me about called DuckSoup. Then Monster, websites under maintenance. Well, they lost their opportunity. LinMailPro.com. Well, yeah, looks like some of these are not good. So I want to check out DuckSoup. I've seen this one in action. I've had more than one agency crack this open for me and show it to me. And I think this is probably for those who are really into LinkedIn B2B. This is probably one of the more popular ones. So let me throw this link in over here. I'm curious, Andrew, if you're able to indicate if you've used this or not. So I'm going to call this probably the most popular / reputable LinkedIn tool, DuckSoup. I'm pretty sure it's pretty affordable as well. So Andrew has used it, says that it is great. Oh, also can be added on in the Chrome Web Store. So it has a free edition. Andrew, are you using the free or are you using the paid? So it allows you to auto skip previously visited profiles. Nice. Take notes on any profile. Not bad. Record manual profile visit, search tag profiles. Auto invite with personalized message. So again, the auto invite is a big deal. So you're not sitting there clicking one by one by one. And to auto visit profiles. So why would you want to automatically visit profiles? Does that seem kind of silly just to go and artificially click on a bunch of different profiles? So any ideas from anyone why you would want to auto visit, only visit a bunch of profiles, 100 a day? So Andrew says auto visit is the way that we do peekaboo. Although some may understand what peekaboo means, Andrew, others may not. I've got an 8-month-old son, and my definition of peekaboo is a lot different. So I assume you're speaking about a marketing strategy. Mind you, interested in elaborating on that, Andrew? I know what you mean, but others don't. So while Andrew's typing that out, or if Andrew's interested in speaking, auto invite with personalized message. So you don't have to go around and invite everyone to connect with you and write them a personalized message. That you could automate that. That is absolutely invaluable. It takes away a lot of the manual labor. Again, why would you need a VA to do this for you when you have this sort of a tool where you could do this? I heavily recommend doing this yourself. Automate messages with first degree connections. Hey, that's fantastic. So the greater your audience becomes, the more first degree connections you get, which is a friend of a friend, if you're not familiar with first degree connections, and you can auto message first degree connections. You can auto endorse connections. And why would you want to automatically endorse somebody else? Let's see. Andrew, did you call in? Is there a phone number I can call? Andrew, if you have a headset on your computer, all I do is click unmute on you. In fact, Andrew, you are unmuted. So if you say something.
Can you hear me?
Hey, like magic, Andrew. Welcome to the Agency Platform webinar.
Cool.
So you've been using LinkedIn. You are one of those LinkedIn experts for sure.
Uh,
And
Expert, but I've been doing it for a few years. We've used a variety of different software that have come and go. LinkedIn has shut down a lot of software.
yeah, and so
Continues.
LinkedIn's very strict, right? Because what I'm trying to say is it's a good thing because there's not a lot of spam in it. But people that are not used to the LinkedIn marketing game, I mean, would you say the majority of softwares from, 2, 3 years back have gotten shut down that used to spam LinkedIn?
Absolutely. There was software where you used to be able to visit 5,000 profiles a day.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah. But not so much anymore. You really shouldn't do any more than 50. Otherwise, they'll shut down your profile for a couple of days to cool you off. But
Wow.
yeah, but Duck Soup is pretty good, and the whole concept of the auto visit is really the magic. Um, what we've learned to do. Actually, we've done it for clients. I should actually do it for my own profile, but I haven't done it yet. But we take their profile and we turn it into a direct response ad for whatever product or service they're selling. And
Yeah.
instead of having the LinkedIn profile be nothing more than a glorified resume, which most of them are, we turn it into this ad. So up top, LinkedIn lets you put in a picture or a graphic, and a lot of people waste that real estate with like a pretty sunset or a picture of their pet or something, where you can actually design a compelling graphic with a headline in it and put that in there. And then, where you've got your traditional, job resume stuff, you push that down and you put in copy, bulleted copy, about the services you offer and, um, essentially turn it into your profile into almost a print ad. And when you use the auto visit, um, you go into the LinkedIn database and you can just come up with an incredible, target list. And then you
Mm-hmm.
can sync the software to actually simulate your profile visiting those target profiles. And what happens is generally people are curious, of who's looking at my profile. So they'll see that you looked at their profile, even though you really didn't. It was simulated through the Duck Soup software um, or eLink Pro or whatever you're using. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll look back at your profile. And if you're targeting them with a compelling offer that resonates with them, a la your own profile, which you've turned into more or less a marketing communication piece, a lot of them will contact you if they're interested. So it's kind of like an effortless way. You could do, 50 a day, um, you know, 300 or so a week, and out of that, you might get, 10 people who contact you back, and maybe you close like two of them. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
So you do this for clients. You offer a LinkedIn marketing service to your clients, correct?
Um, yeah, but not so much anymore. I used to do it more full time. It was really something that we were really doing on a very large basis years ago, when we used to have the software where we used to be able to
Hmm.
do it on a very large scale. Now we kind of show our clients how to do it, and they can do
So
it.
are you using this for your own marketing agency?
Not yet. I'm going to. My problem right now is our website. So as soon as the website's done, yes, I'll probably do something with this.
Awesome. So, and then in terms of the duck soup, to be able to automatically send out messages, do you have any tips for people on how to, well, what kind of messages they should send out, for example, for an initial message in LinkedIn going out to a prospect? Should it be long? Should it be elaborate? Should it be technical? Should it be short? Should it
It
be
should be
funny?
short, brief, and to the point, and non-salesy. You're stuck.
Non-salesy is a really good point. So would you say like 2 sentences max?
Yeah, just something along the lines of, depending upon the situation, let's say, you've got some mutual acquaintances, or, people that you're linked in, that they're linked in, that are first degree connections. Um, you might say, I noticed you're connected with so and so. Um, and try and, oh, hold on one second, I'm getting buzzed.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, what one of the easiest things to do is, say you're doing some sort of research, and you're writing an article, and you're looking for some people in a certain industry that you can quote, and you come up with ways to kind of just, get through, where you can open up a dialogue, and then you can start talking about things, and then matter of factly, when you're talking about, oh, what do you do? Oh, they do this, and oh, well, I do this, and you can try and, kind of very subtly, see if they're interested in working with you. But if you're sending out, really overt salesy communications, most of them are going to be ignored.
Yep, 100%. I'd have to agree with you on that. So, any recommendations on expectations? I mean, is would you say that someone, if they work with the LinkedIn Sales Navigator with the right strategy, that it's an affordable way to generate leads for marketing agencies, or do you think there's a better way?
No, absolutely. I mean, the Sales Navigator subscription's not that expensive, and these softwares, DuckSoup's not that expensive. There's another software that's pretty good called eLink Pro. That's a little
That's
more
what I wanted to bring up.
that's a little more expensive than DuckSoup, but that one I think is like $49 a month. But yeah,
So,
this
do you not use LinkedIn Lead Gen, iLink Pro or eLink Pro?
it's
eLink Pro.
eLink, ELINK Pro.
That's what I got in here. eLink Pro. It says
What
can't be
just,
reached.
just Google eLink Pro, and you'll come to it
All
probably.
right, good idea. There you go. There's just a space in it. So, do you
There-
not do LinkedIn lead generation for your own agency because you're overwhelmed with clients and can't handle any more business?
No, I'm right now on our website, and I don't. One of the things, when people peek back to you, they'll all, if they're really interested in what, you said in your profile, they'll immediately want to go to your website. So I need
Okay.
to, we're finishing out our website. Once that's done, yeah, I'll absolutely be doing this. Because we're doing some really interesting stuff with artificial intelligence and behavioral targeting, where we can overcome some of the issues with Facebook, where they've gotten rid of that behavioral module. We can actually create
Uh-huh.
data for our own clients based upon people who bought their products or services. So,
Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of people struggle with getting a good website up. I oftentimes send people by way of theme forest just to buy a marketing agency theme full of content and great images just to get it up and running and then customize it over time.
mm,
But
yeah,
I'm sure you guys are building yours all from scratch, yeah.
yeah, yeah. That'll probably be ready in about a month.
That's not too bad. Do you have your own, do you recruit your own designers? Do you have in-house staff for that?
Oh, no, no. I'm outsourcing the whole thing to a company that builds websites.
Okay, fantastic. Well, hey Andrew, I appreciate having you on, man. I'll leave you unmuted, but
So
well,
eLink Pro and Duck Soup are really two great softwares, and this whole non-spammy, non-salesy approach using the kind of peekaboo concept, can really generate qualified leads and really good conversions.
yeah, I think so. And then, there's always, whenever it comes to generating qualified leads and conversions, a lot of it has to do with what you're leading in with, right? So some people go out and they start trying to offer marketing services that start at like, $1,500 and up, and they lead in. When they do get to the point to talking to a service with the lead, they'll start leading in with a service that can be a bit daunting to a company because, I mean, come on, if you're not that $1,000 a month should be a daunting budget to a business owner that's local and profitable, but that is $12,000 a year. If it's a $2,000 a month marketing budget, that's 25,000 a year rounded off. So it also definitely depends on what you're leading in with. I'm I've consulted agencies that are big, that are used to only pulling on clients between $5,000 and $10,000 a month, that are wanting consultations to figure out how to lead with literally free or really, really cheap marketing related services, whether it's SaaS or just a small service, to get a much larger pool of leads than to upsell from. And then I've also consulted agencies that have nothing but clients that pay them less than $250 a month, and they're trying to figure out a larger solution. So usually the downside I see are particularly for younger agencies offering too expensive of services to start with. Never hurts to pitch it, but I always recommend people have something to fall back on that's smaller. My mentality is always, you know, getting any client on the books at any level, as long as it's not, you know, costing you hassle, is worth it. Whether or not you pull out a software as a service, if you wanted to offer, whether it's analytics or a reputation platform or whatever it could be, where you could just get your clients started on something, anything that's worth their while and get them in the books, would be worth it.
One of the easiest things to do is in using eBrand's platform is to offer a free website audit, and have a couple of sentences in there about how we typically find issues that are causing for slow loading times, or um,
Yeah.
issues affecting SEO and that kind of thing. Just um, that's an easy one. And
Yeah, we've got really strong website audits. Thanks for bringing that up, Andrew. But and what if I told you, Andrew, that in the not so distant future, you'd have an elegant way to get a client, get a lead signed up to be utilizing the entire platform as a SaaS model, even if you're not paying for a service.
that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what we're pushing on. you won't see any announcements coming out on that, but it's been in demand for a while because sometimes it's hard to close a client or they want to get started on something, but it's hard to get them to pull the trigger on something that's big. But in our internal meetings over here, one of the ideas is not only are our audit reports one time good, but if you could get them set up on the platform, how we audit their on-site automatically in their directories, and there's a reputation suite in there, there's a full-blown social media suite in there. Well, if you haven't been through it, it goes on and on and on. There's live chat form tracking, there's call tracking, blah, blah, blah. But to be able to just get a client signed up on that platform for whatever it would be, which should be pennies to them, and be able to at least be able to schedule an ongoing consultation to let them know about where's their fluctuations in their rankings, where's their traffic coming from, what are their problems. That's one of the ideas behind it, in hopes of, well, if you could at least get them on the platform and then have a monthly consultation to talk to them about their metrics and stuff, maybe that would allow you to further upsell them from there to say, oh, well, we see all these problems on your site. Maybe you could use an SEO campaign, or you're not getting any traffic. Maybe you should turn on a PPC campaign. Anyhow, that's in the works, and there's quite a bit more in the works. We're also working on, because PPC oftentimes is, it's one of the services, we're really proud to offer, and we've got a whole AI platform being released on PPC, and we're migrating servers to be able to support that, and it's just crazy. But one of the things about PPC is that a lot of agencies really struggle with the profitability on it, because typically, for example, if a local client's going to have $1,000 a month ad spend, transparently, and typically the client will know that that's all going to Google and Facebook, and so for you to make management margins on it is difficult. Whereas, of course, if the client spent $1,000 in SEO retail, maybe you're paying, say, $400 a month on it, and your margins are huge. So we're working rapidly to be able to release an impression-based paid advertising service that's more on the branding front, and it would allow you to have a paid advertising service that, for example, would be for a local client that would include display and retargeting. And let's say, for throwing something roughly out there, something like $500, it would include up to 100,000 impressions. And that's the gist of it. But whenever you pay for it, what would be included would be the impressions, the entire ad spend, everything. And then you would up price it just like you would SEO. So yeah, that's heavily in the works, and so is quite a bit more. Catherine, I see your question here. Any details on how that would work? Boy, are you talking about the paid advertising? Because you asked that question 3 minutes ago, and I can't remember how long I've been talking.
No, I was curious about how it would work. You mentioned on the SaaS model.
Okay, the SaaS model. Well, it depends on what it is. Let's say that they were interested in SEO, but they weren't ready to pull their trigger. Well, you could set them up on agency platform, which there's a manual workflow for that right now. You could always request in live chat to set up a client on agency platform. It's like $35 a month. And you could set them up and start monitoring all their on-site metrics and their rankings and everything else. And that's the SaaS side of SEO, is really mainly the analytics. But there's also the entire social media suite. So if they wanted to manage their social media, writing and scheduling and analytics from there. And then, of course, the most popular lead-in SaaS model for local businesses is usually a reputation platform. So because, of course, agency platform has their suite that's in beta. Also out there, you can find a la carte reputation platforms that are run as low as $10 per month per client at the very cheapest that I've seen. And it and then that price goes up, ballpark around anywhere between $10 and $40 per month per client. But it allows them to email and send text messages out to solicit reviews coming in. And then, so that's on the SaaS marketing model. That's been the most popular one to offer to a client as a lead-in. But my favorite one to offer local clients as a SaaS model actually is not particularly a marketing platform, kind of, but it's a CRM and lead management and AKA marketing automation platform that can send emails, it can send text messages, it can handle a sales pipeline, it's a full-blown CRM, and you can white label it and resell it. Because why start driving somebody leads if they don't have a good organized way of, one, managing their leads, two, staying in touch with their leads and keeping them warm, which you should be doing not only through email these days, but also through text message with permission. And if you don't have that, then it doesn't do a lot of good to send a client a bunch of leads that can't manage them and keep them warm. So it's a perfect lead in to say, listen, at some point in the future, you definitely want to get into marketing because you need to. And let's just face it, if you're a local business these days and you don't get into marketing at some point, unless you're thriving on referrals, you're going to go out of business. But you first need to be able to manage your leads and have training on it and blah, blah, blah. So offering a lead management and CRM system with the capacity to do email and text message marketing is the #1 SaaS model lead in with a local client, in my opinion, and you could sell it to them for as little as $50 a month.
This is a
Cool.
do-it-yourself platform, correct?
Well, yeah, there's only two out there for marketing agencies that are worth mentioning, in my opinion. And one of them is ActiveCampaign, and the other one is Campaign Monitor. And they're cheap, and you can white label them. ActiveCampaign is just, I'm such a huge fan of ActiveCampaign. Now, we are a big organization over here at eBrand's agency platform with over 500 employees. We're too big for ActiveCampaign. I won't dive into all the crevices and details as to why, but this is way more than what local businesses need. And their pricing is ridiculously cheap. I believe wholesale is just 10% cheaper or something. But even Infusionsoft, and I used to pay $500 a month for Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft cannot send text messages. Yeah, sure, integrate with Zapier and all this other stuff, and then that's ridiculous. But ActiveCampaign can. So it starts at $17 a month, and that's 3 users. So it's not even sold on a per user basis, but that's retail. So you can white label this entire platform, and it's a sales CRM, marketing automation, email automation, text message automation, and it's definitely one of the best in the industry. I'd put this against Infusionsoft all day long. For local businesses, this is better because Infusionsoft is way too confusing. And again, you can white label it. So you can manage your white label accounts from the back end. You can charge whatever you want. I think it's very appropriate to be charging, if it's a local business and they've got 4 users to use it or whatever. I mean, you can easily sell this at $100 a month. You could easily sell it at $50 a month and make, $30 a month. And then there's Campaign Monitor. So these are the two that you would want to look into. Campaign Monitor. So let me throw these links in: activecampaign.com, and then we have Campaign Monitor. And if any of you are familiar with Reach Local, used to be more known as a kind of a cutthroat local marketing company that's nationwide. Reach Local, they do about $100 million a year in revenue. So of course they have real strong terms, and well, they don't perform for you and you're in contract. You're just up the wrong creek. So they lead with something similar that is similar to Campaign Monitor, and ActiveCampaign is what they lead with. It's like $100 a month, and their whole point behind the client is you already have leads and referrals and stuff coming in, and you have no way to manage them. So, oh my gosh, let's help you out with that. And then they get their drip emails set up and everything else. ActiveCampaign is what I recommend, but then there's also Campaign Monitor. So those are the two that marketing agencies for white labeling dive into. And as you can see here, basic, $9 a month. And I don't even know if it's on a per user basis. I don't know a lot about Campaign Monitor, but I can promise you these are the only two platforms that are big with white label marketing agencies that want to offer something like this. Everything else is too expensive. If you want a shout out of something that's expensive to white label, this is the most expensive advanced one to white label called SharpSpring. So SharpSpring is the advanced one that claims they compete with HubSpot, which is really expensive, and they white label, but they are expensive. I wouldn't use them. I personally prefer ActiveCampaign.
Paul, after our last web
Webinar.
webinar, yeah, sorry, I did have a personal demo of Campaign Monitor, not Campaign Monitor, but ActiveCampaign. And I did ask him, can I send a drip campaign for as low as what they had on the site, which would be $9, somebody just getting started. And it really just
Thinking
starts at the
ActiveCampaign or Campaign Monitor?
ActiveCampaign. And so what they told me, and this is just for clarification, that's all, is that that only starts at the $49 a month. Do you have that option? So that kind of defines it a little bit more.
Was it, you shouldn't have a problem. The marketing automation and email marketing is available in the lower plan. They told,
Yeah, but the custom domain, like to white label it and that sort of thing, starts at 49.
oh, well, here's the thing. Yeah, and I don't, for the light, I doubt you can get white labeled for that, but my main point is these plans for your clients. So to
Yeah.
white label this whole platform, I'm honestly not sure what that level is, but it's either the plus or the pro, but there's a different link for partners, solutions by team marketing sales, become a partner. Reseller program. So this is the link I should have thrown in there. Okay, let me throw this one in. Thanks, Catherine, for bringing that up. Sign up, create accounts, get paid. Pretty easy. Discount calculator. So if you have, let's say that you only have one client, so 2 accounts or whatever, you would get a 25% discount off of the retail pricing. But for me, for a local business, I think ActiveCampaign is much better for them than Salesforce or Infusionsoft. They'll never use any of those features that are advanced, and it's a very confusing UI.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they don't say anything on here. Not sure what it is. But you said that, Catherine, that in order to be a reseller, you need to be at least a $49 a month plan.
No, in order to white label, like to use a
Okay.
custom domain. Yeah.
Okay, that would make sense to me. But honestly, that's pretty cheap because that
Yeah.
means you'd only need one client, then it will pay for your own. And then, I mean, some of these CRM systems, it's $1,000 gate fee to be able to white label them, and I don't bring those up. I think SharpSpring has, not sure if they have, SharpSpring is expensive.
It is.
So
Yeah.
I would lead with local clients with this. If it were me, this would be one of my primary services. Now, if those of you know me very well, you know that I'm a really big fan of a consulting retainer agency model, because I believe not just in reselling, but also offering your intellect and intelligence and know-how in marketing on a retainer level, and doing a little bit of practicing what you know. And with this, for those of you that are willing, I would definitely create a consulting bundle with it to say, not only is it a SaaS model that I can offer to you, but on a one-time fee of $500, I can set this up for you. If you know what Infusionsoft consultants go for, it's a lot of money. It's
Mm-hmm.
like $200 an hour. Some of them charge $400 an hour, which is crazy. But if you go on Upwork even and try to outsource an Infusionsoft consultant, you'll see consultants on Upwork making $150 an hour, booking regularly hours on setting stuff like that up. And this is so easy. Marketing automation and ActiveCampaign is so easy. It's a drag and drop interface. It's easy triggers, easy actions. And for me, it would be my preferred way to lead in with any client I would ever run into, because it's a lot easier to start talking to a business owner about organizing, optimizing, and converting their existing leads than it is getting them to pay for generating new, because it means they're losing money in traffic right now. And it also means that if you get an interview with someone that's paying for existing marketing services or has existing marketing efforts in place, you're going to hit them where it counts, because I promise you, they're not going to have a drip email or a text message sequence set up. It's not going to have intelligent triggers on it. They won't have a nice sales pipeline put into place. And if you look at the kind of reporting that's produced off of sales efforts for this, for the business owner to look at, it's going to start drooling. And that's where you can really talk to business owners about. Pull out the sales pipeline metrics on this, on the deals, and okay, you had this amount of prospects worth this amount of money this month. This is how many closed. This is how many did not. Show them that type of reporting that they should be able to see as a business owner that they don't have insights into right now. They're going to know one thing walking away from that meeting. They're going to know they need you. They're going to know that they need help, and they're going to want help as soon as they can, because it's not about investing into getting future business on marketing. It's about fixing what's wrong right now. And that's always an easier sell. And you would have a SaaS platform, if nothing else, just to get them set up on and then stay in touch with. Does that make sense?
Totally. Totally.
Yeah, Active Campaign's a gold mine. And Campaign Monitor. And for any of you who are technically advanced and know software development, there is a very expensive marketing automation open source platform out there that you can download all of Mautic 100% for free if you wanted to go free trial, demo, or check this out. And it's a full-blown marketing automation platform. It's got landing page builders in it. It's got the drag and drop email. It can do text messaging. It can do social media. It's insane how big Mautic is, and it has an open source side to it. For those of you that remember Joomla, back in the day, it was the MySpace to the Facebook, which is now Joomla to the WordPress. Some people still use Joomla. It's pretty much a myth anymore. But Joomla used to be bigger than WordPress. And Joomla started out as an open source, and some of the main people behind Joomla started Mautic, and it's open source right now. I don't predict it to be in the future, but as of right now, you can download the entire open source code base to Mautic, put it on a server, you can start selling it. Now, most of you would never want to deal with that, but if there's anyone on the line with software development capacities, that will be music to your ears. Okay, everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. So remember, LinkedIn, brandability, people are more brandable than companies. And it takes a significant sized company and a lot of effort to make branding at a company level outweigh an individual level. With that being said, I'm not saying don't have a website, but I'm saying put yourself on your website and brand yourself. And then don't worry about keeping up with such a big online brand presence when chances are, if you figure out this LinkedIn strategy, you could be generating the majority of all your leads through LinkedIn. And of course, you don't want to drive that LinkedIn traffic to convert onto your website. You want to drive it to your LinkedIn profile, which is you. And like Andrew had alluded to, that you also want to tweak it and make it more of a landing page, really. And so think about that. Look into LinkedIn, check out the tools that I threw out there. elink-pro.com, second best recommended tool outside of LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and then DuckSoup, DUX-SOUP.com, number one recommended tool. And diving in, LinkedIn has also support to help you figure out your way through that. So if you're wondering how you're going to get leads and you're tired of stomping down all the different other avenues that are out there, and you don't like cold calling, you don't like doing speaking events, you don't want to go to the Chamber of Commerce, you're not interested in that sort of stuff, check this out. As a digital marketer, for me, this would be my number one recommended means of generating leads. It is not overran. A lot of people are not using it. It is very rare that I talk to any marketing agency that does use this, and even Andrew, who is on the line, is, who I consider to be very well experienced in LinkedIn, is not heavily utilizing it for lead generation as of yet. He probably will be as soon as he gets his new website up. So keep that in mind, and hopefully you can lean on that for lead generation. And also keep this in mind. Look, you should never walk away from a good lead. So you ever get anyone on the phone, don't walk away from it. So take the time to get something set up that you can get them started on and set up on, even if it means that you charge them $25 a month and your overhead's $20 a month on a platform. Get their billing in the books, get them on a platform, figure out a SaaS model that you can afford and get them on, whether it's a CRM marketing automation system, whether it's an analytics system, whether it's a social media management system, whether it's I'm missing one of them. Well, record and figure out what I said earlier. Find a SaaS solution that you can get them on that's ridiculously cheap or free, but preferably very, very low dollar, just so you get their billing on the books and you have a reason to stay in touch with them. Again, there's no reason to ever walk away from a lead, but I don't agree with unless you're a well-structured and already moderately sizable marketing agency that's only taking big clients. A client that you can start at something at $25 or $40 a month on a powerful platform. If you can stay in touch with them, you build a relationship, they start to trust you over time. Maybe it takes a couple of months, and then maybe you can close them on a larger marketing solution. So that's my message for today. Oh, and by the way, I am coming to you from Mumbai, India. I'm over here for a week meeting with Melinda and Prasanna in their office, and be here for a month. So it's been great being over here. The office is very impressive. The owners, of course, are very impressive. Operations is impressive. And we're doing a lot of work the 1 month that I'm here to not only just improve services operations, but also improve dashboard training, technologies, and support. So it's been fun. All right, everyone. Thanks for being on as always. And I'll see all of you again in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for the awesome call, Paul.
Hey, Catherine, as always, thanks for being on. Bye, Andrew.
Thank you. Bye.